And we're live with To Be Determined.
Woo-hoo!
This week we have Mr. Casey Dennison and Mr. Dale Murphy. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi, I'm Casey. I'm the co-host of the Aquila podcast here on YouTube. And my Twitter is at Casey Dennison, or at Dennison Casey. Sorry. And it should be in the description. So.
Alrighty. Dave?
My name is Mr. Dade L. Murphy. I reside out of the Quad Cities of Iowa and Illinois. I am more of a Twitter personality as opposed to YouTube. I'm not really good at making videos, but I'm more conversed to... I'm actually more of the type to respond to videos and joining conversations such as this and try to bring something to the table that's more important. You can find me at Dade L. Murphy 85 on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you guys. Dade and I, we had done a stream previously together, so it's good to chat with you again, sir. Casey, I'm just meeting for the first time. But tonight's stream is going to be on fair use. And what I'd like to do is kind of do a little background on fair use by starting with the DMCA, because a lot of people seem to me in my research specifically for this podcast or stream show, what the hell are we? Interview stream. Anyway, yeah.
Long-form discussion format.
Oh, I like that. Okay, long-form discussion format. Seems redundant, but I think it'll do. The DMCA is actually a law, as most people probably know. It's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. And I think it was 96 or 98 it got passed, but basically what it was an amalgamation of a bunch of treaties that America had signed with overseas countries around the world regarding copyright laws and protecting copyright ownership, among other things. I mean, it covers a ton of shit, including one of the acts that's included in the DMCA is something about phonographs, to give you an idea of the breadth of the DMCA. So when someone is talking about, I'm going to file a DMCA or whatnot, it's essentially like Title IX. It's a law that was passed by Congress that encompasses a whole bunch of stuff. And when someone says, I'm going to file a DMCA, they're going to file the equivalent of a police report saying you have violated this law. It is the same as if you went to the FBI and said, I want to report a kidnapping. It is a violation of federal law. Included in that is something called the Copyright Clause. Well, the Copyright Clause is actually from the Constitution, but it is enumerated in the DMCA. And specifically in the Copyright Clause part of the DMCA, it says that no profit does not permit fair use by itself. My first question for the panel is, do you think that profit motive should actually factor largely when determining fair use validity? And I want to start with Casey. What do you think on where profit sits in terms of, should a nonprofit get more leeway when it comes to fair use than, say, a corporation?
No, I think it should be sort of a unilateral law or unilateral rule as far as who it applies to. That's just kind of how I think of most.
Casey, I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it possible for you to increase your volume a little bit?
Yeah. How's that sound? Better?
Yeah, that's definitely better. Yeah, okay. Sorry. It could just be me. I'm deaf, so.
Yeah, but that's all I think. It should be if it's going to exist, it should be a unilateral thing. I don't think anyone should get really exempted from it. So.
Gotcha. So profit, in your mind, profit really has no bearing on whether or not someone's motives for use of a copyright. It shouldn't matter, is what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, you violated copyright. That's pretty much. Because I don't know if we're going to go into it, but I guess there are workarounds with this, right? There are certain things that are exempted from the DMCA, like critiquing.
Right. Yeah. Well, there is a method to my madness. Why I want to start with this question, and I'll definitely be getting to that later on.
But that's my thing. It's that it doesn't really matter. Outside those exemptions, it should be a kind of unilateral rule.
Makes sense. Dave, what do you think? What say you?
What say I? I think the reality of the situation is I'm gonna have to slightly disagree with Casey on this. While I do believe that most laws need to be unilateral, the problem is in reality they are not. It is oftentimes the people with the amount of money to hire who they want to hire that want to twist the legalese into their favor that end up making and or breaking the rules. A quick example. If the WWF, the Wildlife Foundation, puts up a video and somebody basically says, hey, this is my video, blah, 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 I'm slapping you with the DMC claim for copyright. Well, the WWF itself is mostly a nonprofit organization, and they do what they do to help animals around the world. So if it would be somebody like Walmart, just in the very odd chance, these are two different very types of groups against Walmart. Walmart has the money to basically say whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, and they don't care about paying a fine and or losing because they still make the money. The WWF, however, trying to take care of the animals and promote animal well-being and protection and everything across the world, they don't. So depending on the situation, and that's the key word, depending on the situation, the rules for the DMCA, as much as you think they would be unilaterally applicable, are not. You would, because a place like the WWF would have to say, hey, we've got a problem here with these corporate giants over here that are multinational. We need your help to pay for a legal fund because we only make X amount a year through this charity or these donations, and be like, yeah, I can see why there's an issue. And it doesn't play fair. It needs to, but it doesn't. And again, that's a very grotesque example of how it, two different types of entities would have to play it out.
What do you think, Don?
I think if you boil it down, like if a person has created something and someone else uses that video, that song, that whatever, is it less of a violation because it's a nonprofit rather than a corporation? I don't think so. I think it should be applied evenly.
Sounds good. All right, so I want to jump from that to fair use exclusions, and I'll get back to the profit thing here in a minute, especially when I talk about Sargon and the case that he's facing, which will actually probably be the last thing we cover. But anyway, what I want to do is I'm going to screen share real quick, if I can bear with me here. I've got a tiny little screen that I'm working with. Usually the button is right here for me. There it is. Okay, screen share. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. A little bit of technical difficulties. All right, now what this is this is section 107 of the copyright law. It's the fair use exclusion that we're all familiar with, sort of. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this paragraph and then the 4 guidelines, so I'll go through it really quick. Notwithstanding the provisions of sections 106, 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction in copies or phonorecords, or by any other means specified by that section for purposes such as, and you notice I've highlighted this part, criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. In determining whether the use made of a work in any particular case is a fair use, the factors to be considered shall include, and the enunciation is for a reason, and I'll get to that in a second. Number 1, the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. Number 2, the nature of the copyrighted work. Number 3, the amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And number 4, the effect of the use upon the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. Now, the reason why I did the massive enunciation on the line leading into the list is because most people, when discussing this and doing research for this show, as well as in my past researching of fair use, I have noticed a lot of people looking at these 4 things as criteria, not guidelines. And what I mean by that is when considering whether something is fair use, people look at this as a checklist. Is the 1, 2, 3, 4 check off 1, 2, or 3 or 4, and that's not the way the law is written. You'll notice the line says that the factors to be considered shall include. Okay, include. That means that to the judges they have to consider these 4 things. Now, and
Logical, if I can stop for a moment.
yeah, go ahead.
Dade pointed this out in the side chat. Phonorecords actually count as any kind of audio, including digital audio like MP3s, as well as like cassette tapes, and not just like literal vinyl phonorecords.
Right, I love that. I just love the wordology there. It just cracks me up. Phonorecords. So my question to the panel: do you feel that these 4 guidelines should be more criteria based or more guideline based? Because the method to my madness on that is with H3H3 lawsuit, which Thorne is going to be covering here in just a second. If these were criteria, we wouldn't. H3H3 loses, but as guidelines, H3H3 wins. So the question is, should these 4 things be like how in depth should they be taken? And go ahead and start with that, Casey.
I think it should be as broad as possible. And when it comes to these, I get guidelines would make sense. Not so much criteria, simply for the fact that it would be hard to implement them as criteria, though. Is kind of what I'm saying. Is kind of what I'm thinking about this. Yeah, no, I would just support these being guidelines.
Do you see a risk to the copyright creator? The more broad you go on defining fair use, the more risk you have in trotting on ownership rights. Do you see that as a corollary?
I think that might be. However, I would simply say, again, it just kind of depends on. Yeah, come back to me. Go on to someone else. I have to really think about this.
He's thinking real hard.
Yeah, no worries. Dade, what say you, good sir?
I would say put it in comparison to the 10 Commandments and how they apply to the court of law, or how they're supposed to apply to the court of law within America. The 10 Commandments, and I'm not going to go on this whole diatribe, and somebody is echoing very badly.
Oh, that's likely me.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying that, and I'm not promoting a religious view over anything else. It's a very simplistic term of this, that the DMCA is not the same as the average biblical beliefs of the 10 Commandments in regards to do not steal, do not kill, so on and so forth. In regards to the courts of the 10 Commandments, we have a reason that we do not kill people. We have a reason that we do not commit grand theft auto. We have a reason that we do not basically break any of the laws of the 10 Commandments, because what they do is they court chaos and destruction. Now, on the be fair, on the flip side is, in our modern society, if a person steals, well, what's defined as breaking the law of the Christian God, the God of Abraham, of thou shalt not steal? Well, if you live in a society where people are being denied work, overtaxed, or continually living in areas of poverty or being stolen from by their fellow neighbors, if you have a family of 2 kids and you have to go down to the local mini mart and rob them for money or food, yeah, that's stupid, but that's a reality of you have the, you are of parents and you want your kids to survive. That's not the same as a DMCA copyright claim. It's vastly different that these should be basically guidelines, because their design is of such to promote the capability of criticism, which is not the same thing as committing a murder or stealing, which is most looked upon by societies across the world and religious extents as a do not do this because reasons. If I see critique videos all the time, and I've seen videos where the people that they've critiqued challenge them and say, hey, let's have an actual conversation or debate. And whether or not it ends poorly or not is not relevant, but it's not the same thing. It is meant to be a guideline to help keep things focused as much as possible without people getting a wild hair up their nose. And people cry about stuff that, let's just basically face it, they don't want to take criticism because they think that they're special. And if they go outside their door or outside away from their computer, they say something to somebody, the wrong person, they're going to get jacked upside the nose. That's too damn bad. That's just the way it works. So this is more, the DMCA is meant to be a guideline to help keep things in order to an extent as opposed to the laws of the Ten Commandments, which is meant to basically say, don't do this because reasons. And we've seen the effects of people breaking the Ten Commandments. We have this problem every day, but the DMCA is still considered fresh in comparison. I mean, it's a very young set of guidelines as opposed to, again, the Ten Commandments or even the United States Constitution. And that's where I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, Thorn, do you see subjectivity in the law as a slippery slope?
No, not necessarily. I think that certain things that are negative will always be negative. So I think that, let me see if I can word this correctly. Murder is always going to be wrong. Assault is always going to be wrong because we can see the negative effects of those crimes on people. And I think it's kind of similar with the DMCA. I mean, if an artist is hurt by their work being plagiarized, that's always going to be evident in a court case. So I really think that the DMCA being only guidelines is kind of all right, because then that person can, the person that has been wronged or perceives that they have been wronged can take that before the court and be like, look, this is how this hurt me. This is how the guidelines basically, the guidelines didn't work, or I'm having trouble getting my words together. Basically that this is how I was wronged, and basically this is how this person violated the guidelines, and this is how I was hurt by it. So a civil case could still be brought.
Gotcha. How was H3H3 harmed? Like, what's the story with them?
With H3H3, I don't think they, the whole idea behind H3H3, let me get my notes up.
No problem.
All right, so Ethan Klein and Gila Klein, they won a case against a man named Ethan Haas, who I think the video that was put up was really old. It was from like 2003, and it was a lifestyle kind of fitness video. What they did was they criticized the video with basically saying it kind of reminded them of softcore porn, only without the porn, just like that boring bit at the beginning. And he sued them over that.
What a little bitch.
I know, yeah, what a baby. And it was like an old video that he was most likely not making any money off of anymore. It was just that they found that they wanted to make a reaction video on. The way that H3H3 was hurt was that their video was taken down, and they obviously weren't able to monetize it at that point.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to talk about that too, about YouTube. They have to, by the rules of the DMCA, YouTube, as soon as they get a complaint, are required by law to remove the offending, video. So I don't ever blame them for immediately taking some videos down, because otherwise they're liable. But as far as H3H3, Broken Heart Liberal asked in the chat why my previous statement, if the guidelines were actual criteria, why H3H3 loses. Because first, well, the first one, if these were criterion and not guidelines, the first one, the purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of a commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. H3H3 monetizes all of their videos. They were seeking profit by using someone else's work. If these were criteria, they failed that one. But thankfully, they're guidelines, so we skip right over that. And that's just a bare bones kind of glazed over interpretation. If I dug farther into it, I mean, I could really just eat these apart. As far as how, if these were guidelines, how I'm sorry, not guidelines, criteria, H3H3 would have a much less case.
Right, and like technically following those guidelines, H3H3, it technically doesn't follow them, but basically they ruled that it was transformative enough that even though H3H3 had used pieces of, well, not even pieces, they actually watched the entire video from beginning to end, but the fact that they kept stopping and they kept speaking about it made it transformative. Like,
and I'm glad you brought that up. The idea of transformative. Casey, do you agree with me that transformative is the single most important factor to consider?
Yeah, like the fact that it actually changes the medium enough to the point where it's different, is what you're saying. So, like, say just to give an example, I want to do a commentary on, if anyone's ever seen Mystery Science Theater, the reason those guys don't get a copyright every time they play one of those old fucking movies, aside from that some of them have run off copyright, is because they talk over it. It's because they add commentary. It's transformative enough to that point.
Right. Okay. So is commentary in and of itself a necessity?
I would say it's partially a necessity. I would say you have to be able to transform it to the point where it's not just, you're not just ripping somebody off. You have to add something of your own self to it. So therefore, there has to be some creative merit on your part.
Mm-hmm. You can't be like I was when we were off the air, I was mentioning those folks that sit there where the video is playing in like the corner here, and they're sitting there staring at the screen, not actually saying anything, and just letting the video play through totally unaltered. That's not transformative. Just because you slapped your face in there does not make it transformative.
Do you guys know offhand if reaction videos did receive a lot of DMCA?
No,
because I know that there was a lot of folks that were upset.
No, yeah.
I'll tell you why they don't. Because at the end of the day, they're showing someone's reaction is for, I don't know for what reason, but it is considered transformative just because you're showing someone's reaction. I don't know why.
Even when there's no reaction, those are literally the worst videos on YouTube. Sorry, Dade, go ahead. Dade, you want to jump in?
Yeah, if my mouse wants to play nice and stop being an asshole. Okay, here's the thing about that. I watch a variety of videos, and oftentimes if I see something, I'll make a comment on it. I am a big fan of Razorfist, and I only bring him into this simply because he's done multiple types of videos. He does basically every video he does is transformative. He is one of the major people that I watch, and he will show clips. He'll show portions. He'll show it's not portions. It's basically he'll show a certain amount of the clips from the movie or whatever issue, and he'll say this is, he'll show his face, he'll talk, and so he's on the screen about he's about on the screen about as equal amount of time as the video. Now that's basically a review. A lot of people do those. And then there are people that do, like you said, where they show the entire movie. We'll just say movie for an example. And all they have to do is have their little face in the corner, and they don't say anything. Technically, that's transformative as well, because whether you like it or not, and I love saying this because I'm old, but the little tiny FBI warning that's on your old VHS cassettes, your DVDs, and your Blu-ray saying that you can't, show this in public and blah, 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 blah. I got a little news for you people out there. When you buy a copy of The Avengers on Blu-ray, you own that physical copy, and it is yours to do with as you please. And this whole crap about you can't make copies and distribute it for nonprofit bullshit, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just people getting bent out of shape who have the money that are not making money. Now, if you take a video like Sargon does to where he has his face on the other side, hell, I've seen Jeff Holiday do this too. I've seen a lot of people do it. They do it very well, and they're good at what they do. And they're not making money out of it by they're not technically making money out of it by simply saying, oh, give me money because I made this video or monetize it. They ask for donations, which you can do. But they're still taking up a certain amount of the screen. They're still talking about events. They will pause it. They will make commentary. That's fine. And then you get to simple parts of, well, what if you want to know how to learn a trick to a game? I've been playing Mortal Kombat XL for a short bit because I don't play games a lot, but I wanted to know how to do certain things. I will literally go to YouTube. I will find a video that has just the game clip by itself of about 5 minutes with only text over it. Now, by technical definition, Midway and Ed Boon and those guys could basically say, you need to take that down because that's copyrighted property of NetherRealm Studios. They don't do it because they don't give a crap. They know that if a person's bought their game, if they're looking up cheats on how to play a game, odds are they've either downloaded it through the system that they're on or they're actually playing off the physical disc copy. They've made their money. And then the very, very last thing is you can and YouTube doesn't take these videos down. It's usually only the record companies that shoot themselves in the ass for this. You can actually go listen to an actual song of any band type you want in its entirety, and people will just put up a picture of the album cover. That's not transformative at all. That's basically saying, this is the band, this is the music, you get to listen to it all by itself. And what happens is YouTube knows this. The music companies and the artists that are smart know this. If there are people that are not familiar with their music, they'll let it stay on there because it's exposure. It's good exposure, because you can't rely on the press. You can't rely on Rolling Stone or Hit Parade or any of those magazines that do or used to function and exist for the sole purpose of promoting bands or the entire idea of payola long before the internet came around, as opposed to its flip side of, yes, I do very much agree, and a lot of people hate me for this, but I kind of agree with Metallica busting up Napster, which ironically turned into iTunes and they make their money. If you work hard on your music or you work hard on your film, a person does not have the right to go in with a camera to the movie theaters or bug your studio and put shit out days or months early just as, oh, this is pre-work production, or no, this is the, you know, basically they don't have the right to pirate. That is technically theft because nobody is really making money off those things as per designed. Now, I know that sounds a little, if anybody has any questions in the chat or in the panel to ask me to specify, please do. I have a tendency to shoot through a lot of points in a very short time. But I think basically what I'm saying is, depending on the format of the video, depending on the subject matter and how it's handled, people don't really have a need to complain. And if you're trying to make money off of something, that's why they ask for donations, or the big companies are like, hey, we're getting more sales out of this off of iTunes or a physical CD format or a game format now because somebody actually put that on there. It's really all about how much of an adult you are. I personally don't see a lot of things as a violation of the DMCA. And I think that things that are violations of the DMCA have been proven. And in regards to H3, I think the people that filed the lawsuit have no sense of humor.
Yeah, I think that's a criteria for a DMCA lawsuit is having no sense of humor. Thorn, you're muted, Thorn. You got your mic muted. You're chatting to yourself there.
Sorry, talking to myself. In the H3 case, he actually brought also defamation allegations against the Kleins because he said that basically what they had said had defamed him. So they ended up covering that too, and Philip DeFranco basically launched a GoFundMe for them that raised like $170,000.
And I thought that was great, Thorn, because it simply showed that the original lawsuit was of such low caliber to say that he was defamed, knowing very well that he's aware of the adage of there's no such thing as bad publicity, and in this case it was not true defamation, as opposed to something that Zoe Quinn is doing with her book and not naming names, but basically pointing out people like Matt Jarbo and anybody else that's been involved with Gamergate, saying this guy's an asshole over here, this person over here is a criminal, blah, 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 and she needs to be sued. And then the things I hear from people is, oh, it's not very specific. Dude, I've read the damn book. There was a copy of it at my local library, oddly enough, and I told the library what it was all about, and they removed it because it was actual defamation of people's characters.
Good for them.
It was literal character assassination, and most of my people at the library in town, the Davenport Library, they're big-time liberals. But one thing they cannot stand is basically having stuff in the library that a young child will read, and they will just become messed up by it. And Zoe Quinn's book is basically a hit piece in too many pages. It wishes it was the local fish wrapper.
We definitely should talk about her book on another stream because getting it removed, I strongly disagree with that. But we'll talk about that on a different stream because that would be a freedom of speech type stream. I'm glad that we segued kind of naturally into the Sargon. Was there any more on H3 that? Yeah, I mean, we've been inching steadily towards the Sargon case.
That's fine. And I was saying it's kind of like the same with Aquila.
Yeah, there you go. So here, I'm going to go ahead and screen share. There's a video that I want to go through. I'm not actually going to go through the video, but it's got there's chunks at different points that I wanted to bring up on the screen that did a really good job of kind of breaking down the Sargon lawsuit. Now, for those who don't know, is it okay if I call her like a burnt Q-tip? Because she looks like a burnt Q-tip to me. Like her hair and everything, she actually looks like a Q-tip. Is that Is that
I
PC
like her
or will that
hair.
get me in trouble?
But I like her hair. Just
Do
too
you
bad the
really?
person
Oh.
attached to it is a moron.
And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the personality of her makes everything about her just repugnant to me.
Like, look at me. I'm not doing much better than her, so.
What? You're beautiful. Anyway, here we go. So I want to play the first part of this. This is where she announces to her subscribers that she is sued.
She's so condescending about this. Too.
Yeah, exactly. And what I want to do here, scroll down, you fucking thing. You see this like to dislike ratio? Oh yeah, whoops, I haven't clicked that. There we go. Yeah, that says a little something. So let's start with the first part of this. And let's see. You guys can see me okay, right? Like, I don't know if Thorn, you have to share with everyone to make sure.
Hang on. Let me remember. I will remember this time. Hello. There we go.
Okay.
Did that work?
Yeah, stand by. I'm going to do the mic thing so you can hear it okay.
YouTube, it's Aquila, obviously, and I'm suing a grown man who goes by the name Sargon. You probably heard about it because it's a public lawsuit, and it's sort of coming on the heels of this huge H3 versus Matt Fox lawsuit. And I just want to talk a little bit about it because a lot of people in their feelings, they're mad, you know.
She goes on to say that her real life is going great, but the internet is just shitting on her. I love that I'm suing a grown man who goes by the name Sargon. You go by Aquila, obviously. What are you saying? You know, what's the point of that? Do you the general attitude there is obviously of condescension, yes?
Yeah. Yeah, she's extremely condescending about it.
Yeah, she's condescending and it's hypocritical if you think about it.
Exactly. That was my point.
She can't say his name. I'll say his name. Everybody knows Sargon's real name is Carl. He lives over in England. If you're gonna go balls out suing somebody,
I'll go even
say
further.
his name.
We know the province he lives in. He says it consistently. He lives in fucking Swindon.
Yeah, if you're gonna sue somebody, you're gonna slam a defamation lawsuit against them at the very minimum. Go balls out and say, yes, I have this problem with this person. This is their name, and this is why we have a problem. Pick a side. Pick a lane, Grandpa.
Don't be a condescending cunt about it.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call her a cunt. I would basically stop being
you're about to see what I'm going to call her a cunt in a couple minutes. If you ever watch that fucking video.
I know, I've seen it, and yes, I agree. But she's more of being an immature crybaby at her age.
How about this? Why don't we watch her friggin' video and react?
Let's watch the video.
Let's do a reaction. Let's do that. And if anybody wants to discuss the video, let's just say stop the car.
I'm up for semantics. Are you guys up for semantics? I'm always up for antics.
Logical.
Sure, let me reload it.
All right.
Because technically this falls within the jurisdiction of our topic, and we are technically doing a reaction video. And if she wants a piece of me, come get some. You'd lose.
Yeah, I'm in debt. You're not getting a shit. You're not getting anything from me. Goodbye.
I know. I've still got $12,000 in student loans, lady. You ain't getting nothing.
Does it say a little something about me that when I click on YouTube, it immediately has Sargon and atheism is unstoppable at the top two things?
Also,
you're suspicious? I don't know.
You'll lose because this is criticism, and also this isn't monetized, so I'm not making any money off of this.
Yeah, we literally get nothing out of this. In fact, I believe
I
all
do.
of us.
I get something out of this. I get pure enjoyment of ripping apart as an asshole.
No, I meant monetary.
Oh well.
Oh, so sorry about the ad hominem.
Yeah, as I was gonna say, I think that we all are here on our free time doing this non-gratis. So there it is.
No, we're ripping you apart for fun, Aquila.
Huh? It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great.
She seems like a Francesca Ramsey kind of condescending.
Yes. Yes. Doesn't she have a partnership with the Young Turks?
Yeah, she does.
She does, doesn't she?
Yep.
Well, that actually explains a lot right there. I've gone toe-to-toe with Cenk Uygur on Twitter, and he's cried about stuff. And I'm like, anytime you want to come to the Quad Cities of Iowa, you come on, old man. He's like, you're about as old as I am. Yeah, but I'm not as big as a jerk off as you are. I'm a realist. I don't cry about shit that I can't control because I come from the generation of, well, that shit sucked. Let's get over it and get jobs and pay our damn bills.
Yep.
In the chat, Go ahead, Thorne. Go ahead. Sorry.
All those people, Francesca Ramsey, anybody that's connected to TV in any way, they're all kind of connected to each other in one way or another.
Indeed. Broken Heart Liberal in chat said, Lion, make sure your ad block is on. Honey, my ad block ain't never off. I don't pay nobody. I'm a cheap bastard. I don't even whitelist people I like. But I do donate to Patreons and other stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start this. If you want me to pause it to make a comment, say pause, and I will do so.
Pause. I want to say one thing. You just made me reminded me of In Living Color with Men on Film, and all I'm going to say is back snap with the twist, honey. Hated it.
Hated it. Oh, I remember that. I loved In Living Color. That was a great show.
Great.
Oh, but now in 2017, I'm a racist. So
yeah, I don't think anybody thinks you're racist if you grew up with that show, because you knew they knew you had a freaking sense of humor because it was good writing.
Yeah, homie, don't play that. All right, here we go.
They're like wondering, how can I possibly be doing this? Let me tell you about transformative videos. You can't just change the name of something and then re-upload the content. And that's basically what the Sargon guy did. You know, I can't download text.
Okay, I paused it for myself because she's already lying. This video that I was going to play through, there's 4 spots I want to stop at. These are the actual clips that Sargon took. And you'll notice that she
lies a lot. We're going to be stopping the video a lot if you stop every time she's lying.
Yeah, that's the criteria. Yeah, that's the criteria. You're right. But you'll notice these timestamps. 13, it starts at 13 seconds, ends at 42. Starts at 58 seconds, ends at 119. And I've got all of these marked down. The next one's at 1 minute, so we'll go to 1 minute. Same, 5:14 to 5:23, 6. Now, what I'm referring to here is this is from Sargon's video. He's playing clips from her video. So he took pieces from her video, which amounted to about 11% of her total video. He mashed them all together to create a juxtaposition of her own words, highlighting her hypocrisy. He then labels the video SJW Levels of Awareness, highlighting his highlighting of her hypocrisy, highlighting what he's done with the clips. The title creates the ideological glue.
That the entire video then, by its definition, is transformative. It's not taking, if it's actually more than one video, from what I understand, it's 2 or 3 videos possibly meshed together to make something wholly and fairly creatively new. It's basically not taking the original work and demoralizing it in a way, shape, or form. He's making a social commentary on the ideology of what an SJW is, and this is how one person reacts. We've seen this multiple times from him and other people. And I don't ever recall anybody getting, excuse the language, bitch slapped over something like this. It's just ludicrous.
Indeed, and in this list here, you can see all the different clips. And by titling it what he did, the title itself was the transformation. The editing was the transformation. He was creating a juxtaposition, thereby critiquing her works. You had said previously when we were talking, Casey, about subjectivity, yes. and that subjectivity is the more subjectivity is not necessarily a bad thing. Would you say that just cutting a video without adding any commentary, would that fall in your mind inside that subjective realm of well, fair use? I mean, let's put a fine point on it.
Well, I guess, but it would be very. I don't think she has a good case because with this, just because of the critiques that were. Just have how because it is transformative. There's no getting around that. So this falls within those guidelines we were talking about earlier. So yeah, I would say, at least in her case, yeah.
Right. So if I can ask a question of the panel, in the case of Sargon's video, like basically he did take her video and kind of Frankenstein it into a parody. Is the intent of the video made at all a factor in determining whether or not it violates DMCA guidelines? Let's
start with Dave.
It It is a Frankenstein hybrid, as most reaction videos are, if you think about it, unless you're really going straight through and stopping and then showing your face and making a comment of something you agree or don't disagree with. I've seen Jeff Holiday do that quite effectively, and it's informative. But that's basically what this is. It's designed to be informative, to give you an opposing view on a subject matter, and you don't have to like it, and you don't have to agree with it, but you also don't have to get your panties in a twist. Now, I will say before I bow out, if Sargon was actually commenting on her race, her nationality, or the fact that she's a woman and made derogatory comments in any way, shape, or form, I would say he'd be screwed. But what he oftentimes does is none of that, which 99% of the time, none of that. He usually comments on the situation and how it plays in regards to ethics, morality, as well as intelligence.
Why would that matter? Why would ad hominems change anything about the work?
Well, I asked about intent. That's why.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I can see that then, in the context of intent. Casey?
Well, I honestly don't think intent really matters for them. Well, I don't know. When it comes to this, the intent obviously was to create a critique of her arguments, right? At least that's what I'm gathering. Can you guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
So anyways,
I apologize. I thought that was a rhetorical question.
No, because it was meant to make a critique of her work. So it falls within those guidelines. So the intent kind of is pretty obvious. It's just a critique, which again, it does just fall in those within those guidelines. I'm sorry, I'm fucking tired still. But the point of the matter is, he didn't really violate the DMCA, as far as I can tell, just from watching what he did with her video.
Despite the fact that there was no commentary added, because that seems to be a lot of the arguments against Sargon, or the people saying, "Oh, he should settle. He doesn't have a good case. He didn't add any commentary."
But then a whole fuckload of people should be getting DMCA'd. Why is he the one getting DMCA'd? Because I've seen other people do that, and nothing's happened. Like they've not received anything. So
that's a simple answer, because he's a big target.
So yeah, so she's being malicious. This is a malicious. He could countersue her for malicious intent.
It is. He could countersue her, actually, but I see this as a malicious act by someone whose channel was dying before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that he should countersue her because it seems malicious. In my research on this, I discovered that in her actual filing of the lawsuit, she mentions the title and how he used the term SJW, and that it's a pejorative, critical of her views. Critical. She uses the term critical of my political views. She admits in her filing that his title of his video is a critique.
Whatever judge is going to see this probably would laugh her ass out of the court.
They are going to laugh her ass out of the court. That's why he's not countersuing. He knows, as do a lot of us in the long run, this is a fucking waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it.
I think while he could countersue her, it would make him look extremely petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He does have an opportunity to win kind of moral high ground points here, and just make her look bad. I was watching a stream of his the other day, and he had in his background he had a notepad open, and he was writing a letter to lawyers. And I don't know if he meant to have that visible, but I kind of pick up. I'm a bit autistic in that regard. I can pick up shit like that in the background. I always see shit like that. And he was like, "To whom it may concern, I'm a YouTuber with 700,000 subscribers who has recently been sued for fair use violation, DMCA, blah, blah, blah. I believe I have a really strong case that I think is precedent setting," which I think is a little delusional of grandeur. It's not really, even the H3H2 case wasn't precedent setting. It was just proper application of fair use policy. But anyway, the point is, the fact that he's seeking out attorneys is A, good, and B, I think that he will, if he doesn't seek financial gain in lieu of morality points, I don't see a countersuit coming. Does that make sense? That seemed like a difficult
Yeah.
sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, good. The mundane Matt should sue Zoe Quinthorne. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, should I get back to the video?
Yes.
Okay, I'm on it. That's the wrong page.
That is I was about to say, that's not a video. It's her face, but it's not a video.
Hey, I'm new to this technology stuff. Bear with me. I can't have a muted mic.
Titanic and put 4 different scenes together and then call it on a boat and act like I created that. It just doesn't work that way. That's the basis of this lawsuit.
Okay,
So
stop.
speak.
Yes, you could. You could take 4 random clips from Titanic, put it together, and call it shit on a boat.
Yeah, that it would be transformative.
Yeah,
That-
it's transformative. It's cutting clips and putting them
You know
back
what?
together again.
I'm gonna do my amateur psychologist thing here. She's kind of jealous of Sargon because they have about the same. No, does Sargon have more subscribers than her now? I want to say he does. I'm gonna check though.
Sargon has 4 times her subscribers.
Yeah,
She
but
has-
look at her production value compared to his.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a stark contrast.
Yeah.
Indeed.
The thing with Akila Obviously's channel is that before this whole Sargon thing, her views and her subscribers were starting to wane a lot. Her channel is dying.
Oh well, of course. I'm gonna go with attention whore. That'll get some, attention at the very least.
Hasn't Sargon been doing this long before her anyway? He has more hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Well, that's like me. The reason I don't do videos is I really don't know what my topic of focus is. I don't really do well at them, and I'm more of a Twitter kind of guy. But when somebody asks me my honest opinion, I'll give it to them, and I'll do my research as much as I can. But if I'm trying to go against somebody like Jeff Holiday or Mundane Matt or Razorfist, I'm going to get my ass kicked because I don't have the hands-on experience. Get over it, lady. Shit.
Do you think that she's jelly of his success?
Oh, I think
Honestly,
she was.
personally, I think it's all persona.
No,
It's-
I would say that in general, but no, I really think, again, especially who she is connected to, yes, I think that this is actual jealousy. I think she is actually fucking that kind of person. She goes, go on,
Right.
fair
enough.
go on and watch this shit because I'll show you why I don't like her as a person. I actually don't like her as a person.
I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's greed. I
think it's-
don't even think she cares if she wins this or not. I think she just wanted to jump to her channel.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
it. I'm gonna go
it-
Ruben Pez Life.
It
Go ahead.
seems at first glance that may be her play, but when you look at the like to dislike ratio, I know these people are stupid, but even they have got to see the writing on the wall. That if you're going to take on someone with fair use, it's something that pretty much all YouTubers get behind. Because I think we all can agree that less fair use prosecution is better for those of us that create content.
Yes.
Is that a safe assumption that everyone on the panel agrees with?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
fairly relative.
So if that's the case, she has to know, especially since she mentions H3H3 in kind of a dismissive way in the beginning of this video, she has to know that the backlash is going to be severe, especially when she loses. Yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if she
Yeah,
can
it's
understand that,
gonna
why
be
risk it?
massive. But think about what I said earlier, Lion. There is always the adage of no publicity is bad publicity, even if it's devastatingly stupid publicity. Again, like with Metallica in the '90s and Napster, Metallica didn't suffer. They still rode out that wave of negative commentary and reinforcements from their fan base, which, if you really love metal, you don't get pissy about shit like that. You can't control, you either buy the album or don't. But she still is going to get something out of this. And people can
Yes,
look
but
at
I
her in
would-
a negative light all they want, but she's still going to get something out of it.
I agree, but in the internet age, it's a different animal, is it not? I mean, when you roll the dice on something this severe, people don't forget.
They don't forget stuff from the Reagan era when hell, they don't even forget Gerald Ford falling down the steps of Air Force One, and that's on celluloid. And the reason we don't forget that is not because he's a man who was a klutz. It was because he was the president of our United States. This plays in the same fact is that she is a YouTube personality, whether it's very small or whether it's very big. Yes, honestly, that does play into factors, but she is a YouTube personality. She has a fan base. Gerald Ford had a fan base. People still love to goof on Gerald Ford, saying that he was klutzy, but he was still a lovable president. Whether she's likable or not doesn't matter. And the age of the internet, you guys kind of got what you asked for. Y'all wanted this in Freedom of Information Act kind of bullshit from the Nintendo era. Y'all got what you want, and this is the end result of it. I'm sorry, guys, but she's going to ride this out. She's going to make a profit from it, and she's going to live through it, and this will just be something that people look back on and say, yeah, she was kind of a butthead, but, and then skip forward to the next thing.
What's confusing to me is how people like her get press credentials. This video, the whole crux
Beats
of the video that
fuck out of me.
Yeah,
I'm
the video that Sargon edited, you know what I mean.
Cut that shit up.
He done cut it up.
That word has too many T's in it. The video that he originally cut apart was of her at Hillary Clinton's what was supposed to have been victory in the election, and she got press credentials. She has 150,000 subscribers. How does she get press credentials?
Fire Print said it's actually not that hard.
Well, no, because but for something that high profile, I can actually kind of tell you that it's because the owners of their, because I think, like we said, that she is an affiliate of the Young Turks, who are in turn an affiliate of various other news networks. So just by knowing those people or being affiliated with these people, she can get them.
It's basically coolness by association in a certain manner.
Yes, that's exactly what this is. She doesn't have to be qualified in any manner. Isn't that just great? Don't you love that shit, guys?
Yeah,
I never liked it in high school, and I sure as hell don't like it now. But the difference being is this ain't the 1980s, people. We don't go out behind the flagpole and beat the crap out of somebody if we like. Y'all hide in your fucking little safe spaces with your blankets like Linus from the fucking Peanuts, and you cry about shit and make reaction videos of shit you don't like. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Anyway, I'll continue the video.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey, we're 45 seconds in. We're making good time.
Completely honest, this weekend has been really nuts on the internet. Real life has been great. I'm thriving. But internet's just a little touchy. People get really upset. If I had $1 for every time I've been called in the past 48 hours, I probably have enough money that, maybe Sargon could just give me that. It's pretty terrible. But I just want to address everything. So the first thing, and the biggest...
Yeah, stop the cards. Did you just admit that you're doing it for money? You're classy.
I don't. That really wasn't where I was going, and I don't want to delay this any longer because we usually stick to an hour on this format. I love the fact that she's bringing up that people are swearing at her. Oddly, odds are she's using the word nigger, which, if that's the case, if you really think people really think of you like that, lady, then you got some mental health issues. Because I can tell you, in a town with a lot of black folk, Asian, Latino, and whites, we got better shit to do. I think that's the lowest common denominator and hanging fruit there to go with the people are calling me racial slurs. Get a life. Also,
it's the fucking internet. We've all been on here long enough to where we know that people say off-the-wall crazy shit on this fucking place. Because why? Because they can.
Okay, when I play World of Warcraft, the N-word is way low down on the fucking list of things that I've been called.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably too busy calling you hottie or some shit.
Not when I'm kicking their butt.
They probably like it. Anyway, my point is going with the obvious low-hanging fruit of using, of course she bleeped it out, of using racial insensitivities and swearing. I highly doubt she gets called that as many times as she thinks she does on a daily basis.
Indeed. All right, here we go.
I guess, of what is happening is a comparison of me to this Matt Haas guy who sued H3H3 and lost because of fair use. Again, fair use means that you have a commentary, or there is clear satire or parody, or a transformative use of something that already exists. I have a copyright on my video, and there was no commentary, which, gotta be honest.
Okay. I paused it for myself. This is my whole thing that I was discussing about Sargon. This idea that critique requires words. Critique does not require words. Just the mashup itself, in proper context, is transformative. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So she's full of shit. She's
Like when
I hate
context
people like
is
this.
important.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Move. And no, I'm not going to move the cursor. I was purposely putting it in her nose.
It's kind of rare for Sargon. That was a mistake on his part. You know, he could have said something, and I would have been like, okay, like I'm offended, but you know, at least he had something to say about my work. He didn't do that. He just very lazily uploaded my work. That's why it's
no,
not the same.
no, stop.
Editing is not
Bitch,
lazy.
he fucking did. He did. This proves to me she didn't see the video. This proves it. So, is it one of your fucking little peons in your editing thing? Who is it? Is it a fucking intern? Did you get a fucking intern to go look at that shit? I want to know, because you obviously didn't fucking watch it.
Oh, calm down, Trevor Phillips. We ain't robbed the Union Depository yet. You make a very good point. She's not making specifics. I've seen reaction videos. I've seen mashups to where they act when people don't like a mashup. They'll say, "This is what I don't like about it because reasons." I've seen this video. Nowhere in this video does she mention specific parts. What part did she not like about it? I'm sorry, sweetie, but that's just the way it is. If you don't pinpoint what you don't like, saying this is why I don't like the video on this specific level, there you go.
Yes, but the thing is, to have specifics would be to, at this point, give Sargon specific points that he can challenge. So on the one hand, I agree that she probably didn't watch the video and she's a lying piece of shit. But on the other hand, she is in a lawsuit with someone and she doesn't want to give them ammunition, you know, to tear down her case by going, this was wrong and this was wrong and this was wrong. Well, now they can just focus on those parts instead of having to defend the whole work as a whole. But I completely agree with your stance. I think that I'm giving her way too much credit than she probably does not deserve. But that's the way that I would look at it if I were her. Thorn, you okay?
Yeah.
I thought you had something to say. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Oh, actually, we have a minute left. Should we all concede that she's a skanky hoe that didn't watch his video?
I think we should finish the video and then we can.
I think we should finish the video and wrap it up.
Roger that. Yeah, fuck it. We got a minute and a half. Here we go.
H3H3 winning only strengthens this lawsuit because it points out the flaw in the argument that it's transformative. H3H3 can point to very specific things they said to critique Matt Haas's work. The same can't be said for what Sargon did. Am I clear that Sargon has?
So she is incorrect. It actually kind of strengthens Sargon's case because, as we discussed earlier, H3H's video technically does not follow all of the DMCA guidelines. So it kind of goes towards the whole thing of his intent was parody. That's the whole thing of the intent was not to plagiarize her video. The intent was to use her video to create a parody. So the H3H3 case actually hurts her case.
Yeah, and she's just too stupid to realize that. It's another typical case of the SJW mindset of warping reality to match their perception instead of changing their perception to match reality. And I think it's going to bite her in the ass. I honestly think she has no case, especially in having done the research that I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Casey,
go ahead.
please.
No, well, I was about to say, no, you finish, because she's about to go to the part where she proves herself to be just a vindictive cunt. Just wait.
That's not a question.
No. But she's about to see it show up for the whole fucking world.
Go for it. Okay, Casey's like ready for this.
Oh, am I?
Play.
Oh, man, sorry. I'm sorry.
As a family. Yeah. Also, I don't care. They're not my kids. All right.
Fuck
listen.
you! Fuck you!
You're not his kid.
No. Okay.
Trevor Phillips has just left the building, people.
What?
Who is Trevor Phillips?
One of the antagonists, or sorry, protagonists from Grand Theft Auto 5. Casey really just reminds me of Trevor Phillips in a good way. He's just very energetic and like, let's do this shit. I don't give a fuck. Okay.
No, Casey's right though. That does kind of prove that she's kind of being a vindictive cunt.
She is.
Except I agree with her.
I never said he was wrong. I was just thinking, damn, dude, you've got a lot of passion for this shit. You are balls out and saying Trevor Phillips GTA 5, and that's wonderful.
And I know you agree with her, and I know why you agree with her, but the thing is, it doesn't matter. It proves that she's not doing this because she has any kind. She's not doing this for morality. She's doing it out of spite. And that's
well, of course, the dollar value.
Yeah.
The dollar value proves that. It's retribution. It's not justice.
And this just further goes towards the whole thing of it's not justice, because she's like, I don't care. They're not my kids.
Yeah, I agree. She's a piece of shit, but her point is salient, that if you rob a bank and they come and take everything you own and now your kids are homeless, your choice was to rob the bank. You know, and that's why I hate DACA, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right, anyway, shall I continue?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here I go.
Maybe he wouldn't have done this. It has nothing to do with me. So I'm not going to feel bad about suing for somebody who stole from me. I'm just not going to do it. Lots of critiques about my appearance lately, which...
Okay, so she's suing because she believes he stole from her, okay? Since, and I think maybe we talked about this off air, since his video came out, her views on her original video tripled. So Sargon stole money from her by increasing her revenue. Yep. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say when someone generates income for you, that's not stealing. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional.
It turns out that even bad publicity is good publicity sometimes.
Didn't I just say that like 5 times?
Did.
Yeah, I thought so.
You did. So I definitely stand corrected in that regard. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fire it.
I just want to put that to rest. I'm a beautiful woman. You're not going to...
Dad, stop. Play the video. Logical.
No. I feel like I'm saying that I'm ugly or fat or whatever else. Okay, I'm getting laid and living my dreams. So I want to go for a different angle.
Oh, too much information, sweetie.
That is, I honestly feel sick. That's
not a mental image that anybody wanted. Thank you for keeping that so classy, Akila.
Right, we go. That professionalism right there. That professionalism.
Yeah, that's very lack of professionalism. You can go on to some of the what society would consider the most physically ugliest people to ever do YouTube video, and you're not there to you're not there to mock them. You're here to hear what they have to say, and you meet these people in public. They're fucking some of the sweetest people on the planet, and you would defend them tooth and nail to the death. And then you can meet somebody who is basically, a paragon of what humans should be in regards to physique. They're shitbags. I'm sorry, but that's the way life is. And so she didn't even remotely need to bring any of this kind of information up.
No.
And it intentionally derails from her overall train of thought of, this is why I have a problem with Sargon's videos. To basically play the victim card of, I'm a woman, I'm this, people think I'm, we didn't think of any of that. I've loved saying this. People seem to have the tendency to forget this. When people get pissed off at me and they say that I said something, it's like, dude, I didn't even remotely think of that shit until you said something. Thanks for the idea. And it plays very much so on YouTube videos. You don't think of shit until somebody says something like, interesting. And you plant a seed in their head, which can backfire and make them despise you even more. And this goes for everybody.
Exactly.
Who do you think she's talking to when she says, I'm a beautiful woman?
Her fan base, and trying to reaffirm herself that she is not the bad guy, that she is the heroic protagonist somehow. And it's straying off topic, let's be honest. That's what she's doing. She's using it as a diversionary tactic.
It is, yeah. It's a distraction. Like, oh, look at this thing that I said. Aren't I scandalous?
Yeah, let's just finish this shit show. I'm growing tired of seeing your ugly ass face now.
Yeah, she is definitely reprehensible.
I don't think she's ugly. I think the words that are coming out of her mouth make her seem more ugly than she is.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
And also, why are you in a tracksuit? You're making like a public announcement of something, and you're wearing a fucking hoodie.
Do you see how 99% of the TYT videos are made because they think that, oh, if we dress like this way, it's fashionable.
No, you got to be down with the kids, yo.
No, I've seen kids recently, and they're trying to dress more like adults than wearing fucking Biff Back to the Future tracksuit outfits.
Yeah.
You big,
All right,
I love
just
that.
play this one.
Thorn, you actually make a really good point, because when I first played the video before I had any idea who this person was, I went, oh, yeah, she's not bad looking. Now I think she's just disgusting. And I think it's personality. Yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and finish it off. All over her face.
Threatening to dox me or, to rape me or to kill me, all that stuff, that only...
I wouldn't even rape her.
I was just about to say pause. God damn it, woman. Get over yourself.
Seriously. She talks about this for entirely too long. Continue, please.
He hurt Sargon. So if you're a fan of his, I'm sure it's not going to help the damages when it comes to like a mob mentality saying that I should be murdered for wanting to defend my word. Just putting it out there. Maybe just try a little bit harder, or like just be quiet. Wait to see what happens.
What a delusional cunt bag. Some judge is going to look at the merits of the case and go, I don't know, looks pretty clear cut, fair use here. But wait, what? This mob of people was sending you comments on YouTube and Twitter. Oh no, Sargon loses. Case over. Give me a break.
I'm going to say this 1,000 times. Don't send her hate because of this show, first of all. And if you do, I can't stop you because I can't actually help what my viewers do because they're peaceful with their own.
That's actually kind of where I was going with that, Thorn. There is a meme with Jackie Chan on it where he's holding his hands over his head with that look. And one of the best memes I've ever seen is, I am not responsible for your assumptions. When you make a video, you are not responsible for what your fans do. YouTube tried to tell Styx Hexenhammer to control his fans, and he was very much like, look, I can't tell them what to do. They're individual people. I can suggest they try to be respectful and courteous, but that's all I can do. And I think that's something that people seem to not understand in the internet age is you can't control what your fans do. If your fan goes out and hurts somebody in your name, then you have a responsibility to say, I disavow this person. I disown this person. They are not my fan. This is not what my station is about. This is not acceptable behavior. Bands have done it all the time. Movie stars have done it all the time. Politicians have done it all the time. Normal people said when somebody in their life acts like a braying jackass and says this is in the name of whatever, hey, I don't know you. There's a reason for that. But don't think, people, that don't. If you're intelligent enough to realize this bears nothing. And for her to say, his fans are doing this to me, sweetie, I have yet to see you on the news or even Twitter being physically assaulted. Get over yourself, kid. Unless that person incited them to do so, no, you have no leg to stand on there.
It's just it's again them pushing their narrative or trying to play a rhetoric into their narrative that says that there's this mob of haters and racists and bigots because they are the vocal minority and they can't understand that they're a minority because they are wrong.
Well, it's like my boy Michael said, a foolish man builds his house on sand.
Yeah, true. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I just want to address it. I know that people are talking about it. People are making videos about it. People are jumping to a lot of conclusions. And I think that, I'm going to win the lawsuit. And I don't feel bad about that. And I think it should set the precedent that people should be making original work. And I implore you to do the same. I'll see you soon with another comedy video. Bye.
Wait, so she's going to try comedy now?
I'll see you soon with another unfunny piece of schlock. I watched some of her videos. They're not funny. This is why her channel's dying.
It's a severe lack of humor.
Yeah, she doesn't have a sense of humor.
Well, everybody's got different flavors of comedy. My parents don't understand Monty Python. That's fine. I don't get the jokes that Lee Marvin and John Wayne talk about in their movies. But we don't get on each other's case about it.
Yeah, me and my parents.
Humor and comedy is subjective. But basically what was seen here is she basically tried to make excuses for everything. And when you say stuff like this, lady, you give us ammo. And in regards to originality, I'm sorry, people out there in TV land, everything's been done. There is no such thing as original. It's only how you can reuse the same material more effectively, or if in or more so in a case of a different manner, without unintentionally plagiarizing somebody. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
everything's been used since Gilgamesh. I mean, to be real. Back
Every
to
story has already
the
been told.
heroes. God, I don't remember the name of it. I remember studying about this in game design
Hero's
school. But
Journey.
anyway,
Yeah.
in the chat, Straight Sith Male says absolutely no self-awareness, and I think that that is such a great statement because it goes to Sargon's video. His whole video was about her lack of self-awareness, and he didn't need to utter a single word. All he had to do was juxtapose her words against her own words. Because of that, that is transformative. I've said this 100 times, but that is transformative in and of itself. The juxtaposition. She has no case. She's going to lose. Fuck this bitch. Dade, where can people find you?
People can find me at Dade L. Murphy 85 on Twitter. Feel free to follow me. If not, that's fine. It's a free society. If you just want to give me a shout out or just ask me a question that I can address in a future live stream, feel free to do so. I appreciate your input. And if you love to hate me and you hate to love me, that's just the way it goes because you are a free human being and you are able to have your own thoughts and ideas. And if you don't like what I have to say, kiss my butt because I don't care.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter because sometimes he retweets my tweets, and so then he has some quality. Casey,
I have no taste.
Where can people find you, Casey?
They can find me on the Twitter at Casey Dennison. Or they can come watch our podcast, The Politipod. I'll usually post links before we go live, and that's pretty much every chance we can get. So it's usually Wednesdays and Saturdays. So
Gotcha. So is it like a Wednesday and Saturday thing, or is it any time between Wednesday and Saturday? Is it a set?
It's not really a set date, but it's we usually do it on Wednesdays or Saturdays.
Okay. And Thorn, would you mind making sure that to get the ats in the chat? Folks are all right. Cool.
I already did it in the
Oh, you're so awesome.
I do
All
that
right,
before I put it up because I don't feel like doing it afterward.
I want to do my spiel real briefly because I've got this huge list of back work stuff that I'm doing. For those that don't know, I live in Cambodia and I just moved to a jungle bungalow from an apartment in the city. I moved out into the jungle because I got tired of the city life. So I have this huge backlog of work I'm going to be doing, and in that I've got 5 videos right now just waiting for me to put the last little finishes on them. They've been sitting in my F drive, my external, for fucking like 2 months. It's very frustrating, but anyway, they're going to be going up soon. My VidMe is going to be going up. I'm creating a Gab account. I've got all this shit to do. So come back to my channel. Follow me on Twitter. It's XXLogicalLionXX because some dipshit took the original Logical Lion. But anyway, I'm going to have a lot of work pumping out in the next probably week that I'm really excited about because some of these are really in-depth stuff. One of them's a video I've been actually researching for about 3 years. But a bunch of stuff coming out that I'm really proud of. Yes, I'm in the chat. I'm moving to a jungalo. That is, I'm a juggalo and a jungalo. But anyway, that's me. I'm Logical Lion. Real name's Greg. Thanks for coming again. And Thorn and I are going to be getting together and figuring out kind of a schedule so we can let people know well in advance. Next week we're going to have fair use. The week after that we're going to have blah. Yeah, but anyway, throwing it over to Thorn and shutting up.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to be here next week. I got a family engagement next Sunday. But I don't know, Logical wants to do a show by himself. That'd be fine with me.
The show will go on. I actually am going to try to pin down an interview, a one-on-one interview with someone. I have an idea, and I'm going to try and work on getting them, but I don't know that I can, so I'm not going to say anything yet.
All right, great. I am Thorn Inside. You're already on my channel, so you see what I do on my channel. I host this guy every Sunday, and occasionally I'll do a random stream called Insomniac Chatter. Look forward to more stuff from me as I figure out the computer things and whatnot. I'm terrible at it, so I'm working on it slowly. But do follow me on Twitter. I post more than is probably healthy for my mental state, so I'll most likely get back to you. Thanks for coming, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you.
It just sucks that we are ending on Akila's face, but bye.
Hey, it's okay. I usually end on her face.
So, okay, we're done. We're done.